This video we're going to look at creating a photo filled titles project. So you can work with a portrait image and perhaps consider using a vertical type tool, or you can work with a landscape image and use a horizontal type tool. For the demonstration, I'm just going to work with this beach image and go to the toolbox and work with the vertical type tool. If you go to the icon for the text tool and then just come down to the vertical type tool, or if you wish you can select the horizontal, but we're not working with the mask tools, these are purely the type tools. You can beforehand click in the size of font in the options bar, and you can choose a larger number. Size of font will only go up to 72 points as per the default. The style of font, you tend to find that bold sans serif fonts work better. That's fonts without tails. So you could choose something like one of the impact fonts, Arial Black. All of these will work particularly well. So technique basically involves you click in the image and then you get a placeholder for the text coming up. As soon as you press to engage the caps lock key to make all of the writing appear in caps, you then just hit the keyboard and that placeholder will disappear. So I'm just typing in the word beach, and as soon I don't need to click or anything, I just need to type and then the text appears. And as you can see in the layers panel, we have a new layer, and that new layer is layer 1, and that is because it's a text layer, text always coming in on its own layer. So if the font isn't quite large enough, you can increase the size. So you can hold down, if you hold down the command key, then that will bring up a bounding box, and that enables you just to stretch out the font until it is the required size for the project. When you've finished transforming the text, just click on the tick on the options bar, and that just creates acceptance of that action. The next thing to do is just to click on the background layer and press Command J on a Mac, Control J on Windows, in order to create your background copy layer. And we simply click on the background copy and drag that layer above the beach text. We need to add a clipping mask, so if we hold down Alt or Option and just go to the line between background copy and beach and click, we then have created a clipping mask. We can see the indentation with that small arrow on background copy, and we can see that the underlying layer, which is a beach layer, is now underlined, and that is of course the base layer of the clipping mask. We need to create a new blank layer, so if we click on the background copy layer and click on, let me just drag the layers panel out of the dock, and if I click on the plus to create a new blank layer, that layer will come in as a transparent layer as per default. I can then press Command or Control and Backspace, that's providing default colours are selected. Press D on the keyboard if they're not. So I press Command or Control and Backspace, and that fills that box with white. So basically this is just an empty box, and you can colour it or enhance it in whichever way you choose. So for example, you may wish to add a gradient. So this is an extension of the basic project. So if I go to where the paint bucket is, I can choose the gradient tool, and then you can choose different styles of gradients. So different gradients will give you different effects. If you don't want to have a black to white gradient, you can click at the little arrow to the right of the gradient, and you can choose different colour combinations. So we have all sorts that we can choose from. There's various greys you can work with. So the choice is yours, or you can just simply use the basic black to white. And again, just experiment with different effects. We then click inside of that white box and then just drag our gradient. So I'm just going to go from corner to corner and create a nice sort of gradient effect. Next thing we can do is just emphasize the text, which looks rather flat. So if we go to our text layer and then double click, that will bring up layer styles. So then we can consider adding possibly a bevel and emboss. So with bevel and emboss selected, then I've gone for an inner bevel, quite a small size, but it just makes the text stand out a little. And I could also go for a drop shadow effect. So again, just clicking on drop shadow. The blend mode for this is multiply, and it's just giving the letters a touch more definition, makes them stand out a little bit more. If you wanted to go for an element of transparency, again, working on that layer, that background, sorry, that new layer we've just created, layer 1, you can just go through different layer styles and just see how they affect what you're working with. So if you use soft light together with layer 1, you can see we have got transparency, we can see the background image and we can see the text. If your aim is to simply not do that and just have a coloured box with the letters shining through, then that is working as well. If we go onto our background copy layer and select the move tool from the toolbox, we can move our image around within the confines of the clipping mask. So that clipping mask is restricting how much of the beach image we can see, because that is the underlying base layer of the clipping mask, but we can still move things around until we get the sort of positioning that we're happy with, and then that's it complete. So we could save this as a PSD file, or we could simply go to the layer menu and choose Flatten Image and then just save it as a regular JPEG. Thank you for watching.